Well, hi, Monique.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm all right.
I love it. I'm excited to be here with you back in the studio to welcome a guest.
Yes.
We love having guests in our studio.
It's been fun.
It's so fun. Every conversation is just like a glimpse into a whole new perspective, lived experience.
And sharing knowledge with our listeners.
Yeah.
I love that.
Introducing somebody also from our community.
Yes.
So I'm excited. We have a guest with us today, Dr. Emily Langdon. And I want you to, I want to just bring her on and I want you to share how you met her and enticed her to join us on the pod. So as we always do, that's one of our favorite things about our guests is to tell the stories of how we met them. So without further ado, I think we should just jump into it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
and Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
In each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
Okay.
Well, welcome, Emily.
Yes,
to the
welcome.
Heart and Soul podcast. Excited to have you here today. Monique and I have a tradition of whenever we have a guest of telling how we know each other. But actually, funny thing, the first thing I said to you when I saw you today, because I've circled around you.
Right.
And I'm like, I know where you live. Because I used to live in the same house. And
Small
I
world.
think it's funny because apparently so did everybody.
Yeah, that's a Minnesota moment. I call those Minnesota moments.
Yes,
totally. But I've just been hearing about you and your how amazing you are. And so it's a delight to get to be here today with you in the studio. But I'm going to let Monique officially introduce you because she has a little bit of a longer history.
I do. It was so interesting. I think the first time we met, I had only been with my partner for a couple of months. And he invites me to this fancy schmancy Christmas.
Okay, I had no idea that you had not been together longer.
Yeah, I think we met, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, in August. So we started dating in August and I met you in December. And so we go to this fancy schmancy Christmas party and and I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of people. Not that many people. It's in kind of a smaller room. And, I know no one other than my partner. And you made me feel so welcome.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, you really did.
I had no idea. I thought that you were I
know.
Who knew?
Somebody else
They were
was
pretty instantly perfect.
We're an Insta couple.
Yeah.
So anyways, meeting you there and getting to know you, I later heard you speak at LEAP and just have heard nothing but amazing things from your leadership and the work you do at UMD from my partner. He is so impressed with you. He just says you're like the cat's meow. And so getting to know you, I totally second that. So I'm so excited to hear more about you and also to hear about the work that you're doing and really that you're into. But it's been just a delight to get to know you and to welcome you to Duluth because you literally have only been here, 2 years?
Right. I think that I got here and then you dated Jason. That just what happened.
These are the important events of life.
And then the next weekend, you met this man. So you're welcome.
You're right.
I feel like somehow I manifested that for you.
Okay. And also he is
I
amazing.
manifested it for him because he's the big winner in this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now you're my girl.
I love that so much. Well, so Dr. Emily Langdon, who is an assistant professor at the University of Minnesota Duluth.
That's true.
Tell us your story. How did you get to Duluth and grace us with the great joys of getting Monique and Jason together?
Right, I know. It was needed to happen, so I came here for that. Let's see, how did I get here? Well, I married a Minnesotan.
Oh.
And so that needs to be said first, because when people hear about even his story and our story, I mean, I literally, at one point, I think people thought we were carpetbaggers. Like, we're going to move to Duluth and steal all the money. Like, I don't know. Like, and so as soon as I say, like, I'm from California, and then you feel it, right? And then I'd say, but I married a Minnesotan. And everyone then everybody calms down and listens openly.
That's such a good point.
True.
It's so unfortunately true.
Yes.
And I think that I'm not sure that this, it got on the radar because he's from Minnesota, and we actually lived in Ohio and had this opportunity to go to California. And so, I say to my mother-in-law, like, we'll be back. Like, this is a quick, like, we'll be back. And then 18 years later, I say to my mother-in-law,
the homecoming happens.
I say, like, I told you I was coming back. And she said, took you long enough. Like, it was hard, right? Like, we had 2 children, and she is surrounded by her grandchildren here and in the Midwest. And so anyway, how do we get here? I think that my husband and I are a team, right? We are partners, and we just, we were in Ohio. And the famous story that I tell, I don't know if I invented it or not, but I'm zipping a baby into a lavender snowsuit. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how to do this. Like, I am an older parent. My husband and
you're from California.
I grew up in the Central Valley of California, and I'd lived many other places. I've lived in Green Bay. I've lived in Pittsburgh. I've lived places where there's snow and potholes. And so I'm ready. I'm ready for Duluth.
You're hardy enough.
I'm ready. But I'm thinking, I don't know how to do this as a child. Like, I moved to Green Bay. I had a great time. But as a parent, like, I'm nervous as a parent, and then all of these things are different. So I whisper to my baby, I'm going to get you out of here.
Like a prison break.
Yeah. Just stick with me. Like, I will find a way.
I have felt that way about Green Bay too.
Right? Well, we were in Oxford, Ohio. Okay. We were working at Miami. And so anyway, it turns out that I am a product of the University of California system. Okay. I grew up in Northern California. I went to UC Davis, which is right outside Sacramento. No one's heard of UC Davis. It's the UC system is like a big famous family, and everybody knows the older sisters, right? But then the middles and then the little sisters. It's Marcia Brady, right? Like there's UCLA and there's Berkeley, and then there's the rest of us. So I went to Davis as an undergrad, but University of California was always like that was just the gold standard, and that's where everyone wanted to go. And so I went to UC Davis, and I committed to the UC. Yeah. And it, did a whole bunch of different things. At some point, I went back to UCLA, and that's where I got my PhD. Okay. So I'm a double UC grad.
Wow.
I'm out in Ohio, and for decades, they have been working on a 10th campus in the UC system.
Oh, wow.
And it's a long process. And so my friends call me and they say they just announced the 10th campus. It's going to be in the Central Valley, which is where I grew up. Oh. And I said, oh my gosh, where? And my friend who's from Los Angeles is like, yeah, I can't really remember. It's like a town that starts with an M. I'm like, Modesto, Madera. I'm listing all because there's just all these tiny little towns running down the 99 in California. She's like, yeah, I don't really know. I get off the phone. I say to Charles, like, look this up. Well, it's Merced, which is a very rural community, and they fought really hard to get this UC. And I said, let's go. Like, and there's the Dean of Students position open. And I said, wouldn't it be amazing to start an R1 level research university it was literally a golf course.
Oh wow, from ground up.
From the ground up. So I send him out there for this interview, and he calls me from the campus, which is a construction site. And he says, have you been to Merced? I'm like, look, I'm from Fresno. Like, just get the job. We will discuss this later.
get the
We
job.
operate very similarly, I can tell already.
And we get out there and there, it's and houses are 3 times more. I mean, it's just like, did we make the right decision? And at one point I'm like, I think the schools, I'm sure the schools are great. And I've heard all these things about the schools. And he's like, we are going to be in and out of here before Julia hits kindergarten. No worries. So then we're sitting watching her walk across the stage at Merced High School, right? And then my second one walks across the stage at Merced High School. And at that point, I said, we don't have to retire here. I think there's a presidency in you. Like, I think we could do this.
Yep.
And at the UC, the chancellors and their partners there's always a residence. Like every campus has a residence that is owned by the university.
Sure.
The chancellor lives there. And there's an expectation, right? Well, when we were in Merced, we did those things. Charles was the vice chancellor of student affairs, but we had events in our backyard all the time. We had the Yosemite Leadership Program finale was always in our yard. Like
How fun.
we loved that.
Yeah.
We loved having
Loved the
people over.
hosting.
We loved having students over because we have children and we had dogs. And so, the students are like, oh, I miss my siblings. I miss my pets.
Yes.
So we knew how to do that.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for his next job.
Because he didn't know he was ready, but you
We're a
did.
team, and I was ready, and I knew he was ready, and he just, and he's the Minnesotan, so
Yeah.
he's very humble, and he's very patient, and I am not patient, so I keep putting jobs in front of him, and at some point this comes up in Duluth, and we spent a Christmas in Cloquet one year.
Christmas in Cloquet.
Right?
Sounds like a Hallmark movie.
That they would film in Duluth, right? And we ended up, it was a family holiday, and my brother and sister-in-law were up there, and my husband grew up in Hutchinson, so normally we would go to Hutchinson, so we're up in Cloquet. So I have a brother-in-law in Grand Marais. Like, we've got eyes on this place.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, you're like, I know
the
where
gem
this
of
is at.
Duluth.
Yes,
this isn't
yes.
like, what will it look like?
Yeah.
But so I put the job in front of him, and he, it's a lot, right? He's doing a really busy job. And so then I say to him at one point, like, well, the Duluth position, he said, oh, I missed the deadline. I said, oh, no, he didn't. I checked. It's Friday.
Don't worry. I'm on
Here's
this.
your resume submitted.
Exactly. And I've been gathering some thoughts on our cover letter. No, I really feel like we're a team. And,
Yes.
and
You knew. You would have
and
known.
I believed that was it was the two of us coming to a place like that when you're at that level. And so then we're at a professional conference, so we're traveling. We're at a conference where all of our friends are, like, professionally. So everybody's there, and he has to fly from Seattle to Minnesota, and I'm still in Seattle. And so we're getting blow by blow how this is all going. And I'm with all my people, and one of my buddies says, like, have they interviewed you? Like, does anybody have eyes on you? And I said, no. And Julie was like, this is going to be a problem. Like, they need to know, like, you're coming together, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
And I was thinking, like, well, I'm sure that will come, but I don't know. No, I don't think that there's really an expectation for the partner of the chancellor to be a thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, but I left California. I told my student affairs colleagues, I think my student affairs career is over. I'm going to go and figure out what this new role is. Yeah. And I get here, and there's really like no established role.
Yeah.
So,
Quite a difference.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like I'm writing my job description, which at some point is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But at other points is very daunting and disorienting, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I have all these things I could do.
Right,
And
but
there
what do
are
I want to do?
There are things that would be helpful. So I've just sort of like done things that come in front of me. And so I was able to begin teaching. There was a faculty member, I guess, who left in the summer, and the dean of the School of Education was like, could you teach these classes? So I apply, I go through the process. The one class that I'm teaching is something that I taught for years in California. So it was really made sense.
Yeah. You can pick it up.
And
Yeah.
there's something in higher education when you have academic couples called spousal accommodation. So if you really want someone, you might have to find a job for their partner to bring them.
Yeah.
And so you just, and that's always, there's like a cloud over that. Like,
sure.
Oh, you're a spousal accommodation. Like, you don't really deserve this job. You got it because we wanted the other person.
Sure.
So that's always like, you don't want So when I got the teaching position, I'm like, these are all things that I am capable of doing.
Yes,
Here's
I've
my
done this
CV.
before.
Like nobody's gonna.
Yeah.
I passed the sniff test, which is a relief because you do. I thought about that.
Yeah, that's really,
So
really nice.
just to catch everybody up here, your husband got the job as the Chancellor of the University of Minnesota Duluth.
Yes.
And we're so lucky to have you
Yes.
both because it is a team effort.
Right.
Absolutely.
Whether they acknowledge it or not, it should be.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that they, again, it's, there's an apple, an orange, a papaya, a banana.
Yes.
And so we're just not what was in place before.
Right.
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 And we're, I didn't come with a career where I said, oh, I'm going to go and get this job in marketing. I just, I
right.
do higher education. So I sort of show up like, oh, what's
here.
for me? And
What a benefit though for us.
Well,
That's amazing.
there was so much up for grabs. Like when he started, and I just have to shout out Dave McMillan. Like Dave McMillan as interim held it down and really kept people, moving forward. And so when
And that's
Charles,
not an easy thing to do.
it is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And the interim can kind of if you make a move, then you line somebody up for something.
You're supposed
if
to
you
be a
don't make
seat warmer, but after for a while, it's like, I got to make some decisions here.
right? Because the clock is ticking and everything's
Yes.
moving forward. So, and he did a really good job. Whenever we see them, they are just always introducing us. Like they understand the assignment, which is to help Charles transition into this role
How wonderful.
in a new town. And
They're very kind people.
aren't they amazing?
Yeah, they're
I know.
sweet.
I love them. So there's one chancellor and there are 9,000 students. So there's one of him and 9,000 Bulldogs on campus, right?
Wow.
There are 85,000 Duluthians and one chancellor.
Right.
So he goes into the grocery store and he thinks he's shopping and then someone will say, oh, hello, Chancellor. And he's like, hello. And then you do a quick, like, what's in my basket?
Yeah.
And fortunately, you can't buy alcohol in grocery stores here. Because that would happen to our former chancellor in California. She'd be at the grocery store getting wine, and then people are like, "Oh, Chancellor," and looking in her basket.
Oh,
how funny.
no.
And so she ended up having other people kind of, and remember at some point like that grocery shopping where you could pick up and stuff, Instacart kind of.
Yeah.
That helped her a lot because you're a public figure and you're always a public
like
figure.
This
different.
literally happened to me yesterday.
Oh, serious?
At the grocery store. I saw someone I knew and they made a comment about my cart.
And you're just like, wait, what?
I was like, that was weird.
Like, that's a weird
I think
thing.
that's so funny that
I
you
think
bring
it's
it
up for grabs.
today.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm at the grocery store.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
well, you got a big load there. I'm like, I'm at the grocery store.
And you have 2 daughters.
And I have a tiny cart. So there's only so.
It looks like it's more than it is.
I thought about it for a long time after that happened. And it was a man. And I was like, why did that man feel the only thing he could say to me? It's like a public man too. Like the only thing he could say to me was the size of my grocery cart. Like, so I get it.
Yeah.
People have comments and thoughts about really silly things.
Yes.
And when you are a public figure, everything you do is scrutinized. And so it's hard. And you come into a new community where now you've got all these judgy Minnesotans who are really, really nice, like super nice, but also really
passive aggressive.
putting an eyebrow up.
Yes.
That's hard. That's really hard. But I feel like you are the person to be able to do it, and because I also think people in California, every time I go there, I'm like, there's a certain commonality. There's just something about I feel at home there too. So I feel like that was.
I
a
kind
good
of agree
move.
with you.
Yeah.
Like out of all the states, it is one that Minnesotans I feel more comfortable there. I feel like the people. It's a blue
Similarities.
state. I mean, there's that too.
There's that. Yeah.
Well,
It's
and I used to
probably
say,
largely it.
coming to visit, I would go back then to California and say like, okay, like Minneapolis is San Francisco of the Midwest. Like, and you get up to Duluth and it's like Portland of the Midwest.
yes,
like we
totally.
we're just these cool places and they happen to be here in this time zone. But there are other cool cities that I think feel some
Similar.
kind of
And it's
camaraderie.
people who choose, a lot of people choose to live here too and and put up with things to be here, So we're lucky to have you, but I'm excited for you to be here because it's a really special place.
I'm curious. I just want to hear a little bit. I'm sorry I don't mean to cut you off, but a little bit about the work that
Yes.
you're excited about. Because when you were talking at Leap about what it is you wanted or needed, or it was interesting to hear some of your initiatives that you're really working on. And I would love it if you could share, because I found it fascinating.
Well, so again, like there's no job description,
Right.
and I get here, and I secure a teaching position, so I have a toe into the university, and I'd been a part-time faculty member, so this is a role that I recognize.
Sure.
And it's and I'm underemployed. Like I'm teaching one course each semester in a master's program with 12 students.
Wow.
So it's super high, and it's
Yeah.
online. So it's a little
Oh,
soul crushing,
interesting. Yeah.
but it's also like I can get to know those. I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But it is a fraction of my time and energy, right?
Sure.
And some of it, one of the classes is one that I've taught before. So now I'm tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And I love that when you get to teach something again, you just
Yes.
woulda, shoulda, coulda, and then you can fix it. So I love that.
So true. Yes.
Mastery is something we
We've
talk
talked
about.
about mastery a
There
lot.
you go. So I'm teaching. So I have this faculty role, but I don't teach enough to even vote in my department. Like I'm kind of a
You're an
non-player.
afterthought.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, but I go to all my meetings and I perk up and I try to understand and I want to,
You want to
feel
contribute
engaged in the
too. Yeah.
community.
Right.
And I'm just constantly aware of who I am and the connection that I have, right, to this decision maker. So that's hard. It's just an awareness.
Yeah.
And I have this line where I say a conversation started and I have to say, like, in the spirit of transparency, I need to let you know who my partner is.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone because
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't change my last name.
Yeah.
No.
And so you don't want people to feel tricked.
Yes.
And-
Yeah,
and
that's really
when
wise.
we were really new, I did it a lot. And now people will say, like, we know. Like they know.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm just being
Right.
clear.
Yeah. No, I
But
think that's really a
Wise.
kind thing to do.
Yeah, and there's this sense that like, and then this is nothing the same about, but first ladies of the United States, right?
Yep.
They always have a campaign. Right? Michelle Obama's like, let's
Yes.
get kids healthy lunches.
Yes,
and,
right.
And Barbara Bush was. I mean, I
The
just
reading,
think that
yep.
yeah, there are things you can do when you're just adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That are still
have a
really
platform.
impactful.
Yes.
So I decided, just on my own, that mine is leadership because that's what I do.
Yes.
And that's what I love.
Okay.
And every once in a while, I would get to teach that at my last institution. And it was wonderful. So, and I do a lot of training and leadership development in all these different areas that are sort of wrapping up. And I teach a high school leadership class on the West Coast, and I've gone out. They fly me out, and I've done that a couple times.
Awesome.
And, so it's all about leadership. So I've decided people ask me to do things, and I think to myself, is it a leadership project? And I pretty much say yes to everything because I have an open calendar.
Yeah.
But I'm really starting to, as things get busier, I'm going to make some clear decisions about leadership. And so one of the things, I don't quite know, there was a series of senior level people talking at UMD, and they were going to have a conversation about leadership. And my husband says, can you please just involve Emily? Like, I think I was driving him crazy because I'm home, just waiting for stuff to happen. And his calendar's meeting. And so I got pulled into this. What started as just a conversation about how could we embed leadership into the fabric of UMD, because everyone, first of all, has leadership potential. But second of all, everyone has to contribute. If you thought you were going to hire someone new and they were going to make all the decisions and fix all the problems, you hired the wrong person.
Right.
And even during his interview, they said, please give us your vision of UMD for the next 5 years. And he was like, I can't he's talking to a room full of UMD faculty and staff. Yeah. And he's like, this place, I don't. And so he's collaborative and we need everyone to understand that you have an obligation. You can't just sit in that chair. You have to lean forward. You have to say, here's what I know.
Yes.
Share some ideas with me and I'll give you my thoughts. Like
That's
everyone
leadership.
has to engage.
Yes.
Yep.
Or this is going to be painful. And if you really want someone to make all the decisions, then you just get to sit back and judge and throw rocks.
Not be a part of it.
And not be a part of it.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
that's
gosh.
not going to get us anywhere
Right.
where we need to go. So I think that my contribution is just infusing leadership into any conversation I have. And so I've been weaseling my way into things.
Well, I have to say too, I think what you guys have done has been so smart, just as an outsider I've never been in higher ed. I've always just been business, right? So watching from the outside has been really fascinating because I feel like it's developed a community, a network that maybe didn't exist before. And I mean, I don't know because I'm also new like you to the whole thing, but like I've seen the effects and just the excitement from my partner and how he's just like, this is so awesome. Because I think he has degrees in that as well, right? Like, so I love what you guys are doing there and what the work you're doing.
Yeah. Right. And I think that people, I mean, if you want someone to tell you what's going to happen, then you're an observer.
Yes.
It's like, well, give me more. Yes. If you want to be engaged in something, it's kind of like when you learn something, if I just tell you everything.
Yes.
But if you have some kind of a project assignment or if you have to teach back the material to your peers, you learn it really well. Like when you engage people, they're just more invested. Well, and I think that's the goal.
True joy in being a leader comes when you do it with a team and you do it in collaboration and community. When I built my businesses, like I never wanted to do it alone. I didn't want to have all the answers. I wanted to find the answers relying on a lot of people's input.
And assuming people are smart.
And to
imagine that, right? Like really giving people credit that the collective ideas here, that's what's going to get us through. But if you're not bringing your ideas because you don't think they're good or no one has
or you're
asked
afraid
you,
of getting like judged for them, right? Like not having that open.
Before.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think and you don't know who's got what going on. So you just have to keep inviting people and stay open. And that's been really fun because some people have been like, I've been waiting all day for you to come ask me these things. And other people are, come on, you can do this. We're not, there's some hesitancy there because it is risky. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, it feels like putting yourself on the line a little bit like, ooh, if I say this, are they going to not like what I have to say? But it's like, just say the thing. I mean, usually adults I feel like are mature enough to know that's your opinion and you're entitled to it,
Well, I think the point you made about teaching leadership and looking for opportunities to teach leadership is really important because if you look at a curriculum and as young people are moving through school, how often are they taught leadership, right? Maybe they're expected to seek it out or to model it or mentor it or all of that, but like it's actually something that you can teach. And maybe you have people who are natural leaders or natural followers, but everyone can learn that in any given situation you can exhibit leadership qualities and like step forward. But to teach it is so important.
Right.
And I work on that with my children or with my teams of like not only modeling it, but teaching it and giving them tools to be leaders on their teams.
Right.
And that's really important. And so many women are leading all of the time. And one, we need to recognize that, but also like, what could we help teach them to even further move forward?
My whole thing to that I've really been focusing on is like when you know how to do something well, when someone shows up that's not a good leader, I don't know, like maybe our current administration.
Okay. We went there.
You can literally like slough it out, right? Because you're like, no, I know what good leadership looks like. Don't tell me this is good leadership.
Yeah, no, I know what that looks like.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. And when you self-lead, then you're not buying into the propaganda or the machine, right? Like, because you're like, I have my own sense of leadership and I know what I'm talking about and I know how to lead teams. But
you're talking with an incredible level of self-awareness.
Oh, sure.
Right?
That's a good point. I forget.
That you've learned and right? And I think that's where in high schools, and I mean, we should be starting in middle schools, but particularly on college campuses, that's where this is. And I think just about every single public university has in its mission to develop leaders for the future of our democracy, right? Like that's what college can provide, these laboratories and opportunities to learn things and to have the intellectual knowledge and then the physical experience. And so I think about this metaphor of like in biology. You take a biology class and you read the book, right? Who's the heart and who's the soul? The heart.
I'm the heart.
You're the heart.
She's
okay.
the soul.
All right. So soul's going to read the book.
Yeah.
So you read the book and you come to class and you have all the information about the anatomy of a frog. You didn't read the book, but you went to lab and you cut open a frog.
Yeah.
So you have some information about the
Yes.
anatomy of a frog. And if you don't do both of those things, if you don't read before you go to lab,
Yep.
right? Or if you don't go to lab, if all you do is read, you have either like the intellectual information or you have like the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Like every time I open it up, there's this thing there. I think it might be the heart, right? You have to figure these things out the hard way. And when you do both, when leadership is when you've been reading and then you've been in the laboratory, you don't have to cut up as many frogs. You have to cut up a lot of frogs.
Such a good analogy.
Right?
Very,
To figure
very
out
good.
what's going on inside
Yes.
this animal. And so I think that if we're reading, and you don't have to read, you can listen to podcasts, you can talk, you can, but if you're gaining information and then you're practicing and you're trying to put those things together, and college has the opportunity to do that.
Oh, it's so important. It's why I have twin daughters who are college students. They're technically graduating from high school next week, but one of them is already a college student at Middlebury College in Vermont.
Wow.
And then her sister is going to be at American University in the fall. And the price tag for me is worth it because I know that on these campuses they're going to learn leadership.
Right.
They're going to grow into the well-rounded, grounded humans and be able to experience so many things in connection with other students that is something you cannot repeat in another environment. So my husband and I are just like,
okay,
this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they want that. Obviously, they worked hard for that too. But to talk about that, it's like, yes, that's exactly what is really important that is happening and shaping young minds and growing people that is above just reading the book or getting the grade. It is a communal learning experience that is pretty important.
And on a college campus, the coin of the realm is really education. It's the core academic mission of the university. But I think what really teaches young people is what we call the co-curriculum. And they used to call it extracurriculars. Sometimes in high school, you're like, oh, I did sports, I did extracurriculars. But colleges that are focused on students and centered on students refer to the co-curriculum because you can be a business major. But when you're in the marketing club and you have a project where you do some marketing and the outside the classroom stuff, there's no faculty member, maybe they have an advisor, but they get when they run clubs and orgs, when they play on a sports team, right?
Or theater department.
Theater, arts,
museum.
all of them, right? All the fine arts. When you do those things, we watched a percussion performance at UMD and the teamwork, the drumming was fabulous.
It's amazing.
The noise they were making was fast, but I was watching the teamwork because they had these sub-teams, 3 would come out and do a performance and then 6 would come out. And I'm like, these young people, while they're having a blast drumming and while it was so interesting, the music, what they learned is how to get something done as a group of
How to produce.
And that they will take in any context they want to. So there are all of these lessons that happen in the co-curriculum. And it feels like, I want to de-stress, so I think I'll, do this, I'll join this club or I'll start a club. But that's where they're cutting up those frogs. And I think that, and that's what's really exciting. So I'm inserting myself into some different student organizations and trying to talk leadership.
Yes,
I sat down at a table with a group of sorority women and I was like, hi there. I know what we need to do together. Can we, I might have moved my microphone. Can we, I sat down at a table of sorority women at a leadership banquet and I thought I need to reach out and we need to bring leadership into this because otherwise people just say, oh, you're a sorority. Actually, that is the groundbreaking women's leadership organization. And you can focus on the social events or the drinking or whatever happens, but I focus on the leadership and how to be a really good female leader.
Yes.
It can start, and it can start in a lot. It can start on women's sports teams. Like there are places where
so many
women are
areas.
together. Right?
Yes.
And people write that off. But that's where you figure it out. So then I have this other group that I talk about. And I think you guys are probably, we maybe need to form this, but it's the Sisters of Gamma Delta Sigma, Gamma Sigma Delta, who get shit done, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you can't say that in public. So you just say, oh, the women of Gamma Sigma Delta.
Oh, yeah.
Part of it.
I'd like
and
to
I
rush.
think that, exactly, you're in. Women figure out how to work together.
Yes.
And then what happens, and I see it all the time on college campuses, there will be a club and there may be a male president. And then you see like the female vice president and she's running the meeting and she did the minute.
She got the shit done.
You, right? And you have to have a group of us or there's one put upon woman who's getting it all done. And so you just, I was on a board in my last community and I'd look around and be like, you and you, we're going to get this shit done. Let's go. Like,
So true.
And you knew.
Yeah.
And I think that it can happen in a lot of environments. But I do think that on college campuses, there's a lot of fodder. There's a lot of opportunities to learn those lessons. And then it's a safer space than the real world, right? Where you're paying rent. And
It's where you develop the tools and the resilience and the experience, the lab of life to go into the real world with that backbone, that confidence.
Right?
Absolutely. And that was my college experience, was exactly that. Like running residential life clubs, you know,
go.
all of those roles. Planning events, shocker,
exactly.
that
I
turned
made
into
a career
something.
out of that,
right? So I was a poli-sci major. Okay, fine. That's, you know,
that means
do
that
I
you
use
pay
that?
attention to
I
what's going on
do.
in our country.
Exactly. Like there's so many things, but ultimately it was the whole co-curricular experience that I was able to take to my advantage.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I think that people find their jobs and their skill sets that aren't necessarily aligned to their major. I mean, some people, their major was super important, but for the most part, I have a daughter who's about to graduate with a poli-sci major. And everybody in poli-sci is going to law school. And I don't know if that's the path or not. Like there are so many
paths.
things, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
My major was international relations, which is poli-sci, and then I had to take a foreign language.
That's
wow.
one of my girls too.
There you go,
Yeah.
right? And I grew up in California where everyone speaks Spanish. And what did I do? I took 5 years of French.
Oh,
Yes.
5 years of French.
good on you.
It's
You guys could have a conversation today.
On peut pas français?
But when you're ordering wine, like you really sound good, right? Like there are some perks still to the old.
You can
5
pull
years
out
of
the
French.
little-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh my
Like, monsieur.
Well, Emily, I feel like we could talk forever.
Yes.
While we've been chatting, I have so many things in my head. I was like, I gotta ask her about this. So I'm excited to continue this conversation outside of the podcast realm and to get to know each other better. And I'm excited for Duluth to have you making a stake on the University of Minnesota Duluth campus and throughout our city and organizations that you've spoken at, like LEAP. And I think it's just such a gain for us to have you here. And I know that you're going to continue to dazzle in so many places. And I'm like, let's go down the list because I'm like, have you thought about this? We're about here. You want to be busy? I'm your girl.
I know.
So
And I have to say, we love Duluth. Like whenever
I
people
love
are like, did you check the weather before you moved here? I'm like, a couple times. And I love Duluth. But
Yeah.
this is such an amazing place.
I
And
know, it really is.
Every time we drive by, it's like there's a new restaurant we haven't been
I
to.
know.
Like we are having so much fun.
I'm so happy.
So it's just, no wonder people want to come here. It's a destination.
It
right?
really is.
Absolutely.
We're very
Enjoy it.
fortunate. Yeah.
well, that's a wrap for today. We have been so happy to have you here. And I suspect it won't be your last appearance on the Heart and Soul podcast. We'll have to have you back to continue.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. Like this is great. I'm going to do a podcast every week.
And, right? It is just
we like it.
so
50 a year.
easy and conversational. I'd love if you could leave our listeners with, and which is primarily female audience,
All right.
but
Phew.
because I'm a huge book reader and podcast listener, with one resource, one book, one podcast, like what's your go-to if you want to introduce leadership to somebody? What's your resource go-to?
Well, I think that there are some great leadership books out there. I am sort of involved. I am interested in Amy Edmondson right now.
Okay.
And she's written a whole bunch of various stuff. Her latest, she wrote a book called Teaming, which I don't like when people take nouns and make them verbs, but I forgive Amy because she's so smart. So I love teaming. And
She's allowed to be a human.
She's allowed to do that. Not everyone may do that. But she does, her new book is about learning and it's about failing. And that's how you learn.
It is.
Right?
We make mistakes. It's
And
how we learn.
I never remember the title because I'm bad at this, but it's along the lines of like the right way to be wrong.
Okay.
Because if you make a mistake and you go, okay, that didn't work.
Right.
I'll try it again. And it's the idea of you tweak, you do something, you fix. And so I think that idea is very important, particularly who I think women are particularly hard on ourselves.
Yes.
Like, I blew it, I messed up. No, you learned something.
You adjusted.
Right.
If you take it as a lesson, stop beating yourself up and move forward with more information, with this knowledge that you've gained. So I think Amy Edmondson is my leadership guru girl for the day.
That's a new one for me.
Thank
so
you. I've
you
never
better,
heard
better
that
believe
either.
I'll be downloading
Yeah,
that later
exactly.
today.
Yeah.
So
We will be giving you feedback on that.
Good. Yeah, I need to know how that's
New
going.
book club.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you so
joining
much.
us on the podcast.
I just this is kind of like a bucket list thing. Like, I told my friend, like, I'm going to go be on a podcast. Like, that's so cool. I love
We're
that you
honored
do
to
this.
have you
Absolutely.
I love that you just said we're going to do a podcast and made it happen.
And we have iterated
You-
and learned along the way.
Yes.
So
We've made a couple mistakes.
yeah,
so,
it's not always perfect.
You are the women of Gamma Sigma Delta. Well done, sisters.
We get shit done.
Yes, so good. Thank you so much, and just can't wait to see what you continue to do and bring to our community. So
we're
appreciate
having
it.
coffee soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.